The storm howled across the barren alien desert, lightning crawling over black clouds like glowing veins. The human, Commander Ray Carter, tightened his coat and pushed through the dust. His scanner beeped faintly, and a life form weak but alive. He followed the signal to a wrecked shuttle half buried in the sand. He moved closer, flashlight cutting through the gloom. Inside the broken hull, the air smelled of burnt metal and blood. He heard a soft sound and a whisper almost drowned by the wind. "Please, don't come closer," a trembling voice said, faint and full of shame. Ray stopped, lowering his weapon. "I'm not here to hurt you," he said gently. "Are you injured?" A blanket shifted near the corner, and under it something moved. The voice came again, shakier this time. "I'm dirty, inside and out." For a moment Ray thought she meant blood or sand, but the fear in her tone said something deeper. He crouched slowly, pushing aside a broken metal beam. The light revealed an alien woman, thin, bruised, and covered with a dusty blanket. Her skin shimmered faintly silver beneath the grime, her eyes glowing faint blue. Ray's breath caught. She was not from any known colony. Her wrists bore strange marks like they'd been burned by shackles. "What happened to you?" he asked quietly. She turned her face away. "You shouldn't see me. I'm not clean. Not after what they did," her words froze him. He had seen pain before, in war, in loss, but not this kind. Her voice carried something that hit him harder than any weapon. Broken dignity. "I don't care," Ray said finally, his tone firm. "You need help, and I'm not leaving you here." The woman flinched as he reached forward. "Don't," she whispered. "Don't lift the blanket, please." But Ray's instincts told him something was wrong. Not just fear, but something more. He gently lifted one corner of the blanket and froze. Her body wasn't just bruised. It was scarred with strange metallic lines that pulsed faintly under her skin. Small implants glowed at her neck and arms, like someone had forced machines into her flesh. Ray stepped back, shocked. What did they do to you?" She looked at him through tears. "They called me a half-breed. A failed creation. Half organic, half machine. Dirty inside, dirty outside." The storm outside roared louder as if echoing her pain. Ray's mind raced. The galaxy had outlawed biomechanical experiments decades ago. Only the cruelest alien empires still tried to mix flesh with steel. Whoever had done this, like they had used her as a weapon or a tool. "You're not dirty," Ray said after a pause. "You're alive. That's what matters." Her eyes widened. No one had ever said that to her before. He took off his own jacket and covered her shoulders. She trembled as warmth touched her skin for the first time in days. Why are you helping me?" she asked, voice cracking. "Because you're someone who needs it," he said simply, "and because humans don't walk away." She looked at him like she didn't believe such kindness could exist. The storm outside began to calm, but the silence inside the wreck felt heavy, almost sacred. Ray checked his wrist communicator, signal weak. He'd need to get her to his base before nightfall. "What's your name?" he asked. She hesitated. "Lyra," she said softly. "They called me Subject 9 before, but I remember my real name now." "Lyra," Ray repeated, helping her stand. "We're getting you out of here." She tried to move but stumbled, her legs trembling. He caught her before she fell. Her body felt too light, too cold. He could feel the faint hum of machinery under her skin, a reminder of the horror she'd survived. As they stepped out of the wreck, lightning lit the sky. Far on the horizon, dark ships moved, silent watchers. Someone was looking for her. Ray's jaw tightened. He didn't know who these monsters were, but one thing was certain. They'd come to reclaim what they thought belonged to them. And this time, humanity would stand in their way. The wind carried the faint whisper of her voice again, almost lost in the storm. "Ray, if they find me..." "They'll kill us both." He looked at her, eyes cold and calm. "Then they'll have to try." The wind screamed behind them as Ray helped Lyra through the shifting sands, his boots sinking deep into the dunes. The storm was fading, but something far worse was coming, the silent hum of engines above. He glanced up. 3 black ships hovered in the clouds, lights scanning the desert like hunting eyes. "They found us," Lyra whispered, clutching his arm, fear trembling through her every word. "Keep moving," Ray said, gripping her tighter. "There's a cave system a few clicks east. We'll hide there." Her steps faltered and her legs buckled. Ray caught her before she fell, his heart pounding. The faint metallic pulse beneath her skin was growing weaker, her system overloaded from the storm and damage. She needed repair soon. He glanced at his scanner. The ships were descending fast. A blue beam sliced across the sand where they had been seconds earlier, melting rock to glass. Lyra gasped, staring at the glowing crater. "They'll take me back," she cried softly. "They'll open me again. Replace the human parts I have left." Ray's jaw tightened. "Over my dead body." He hoisted her onto his back, ignoring the pain in his shoulder. The desert stretched endless, golden and cruel, but the cave glimmered faintly ahead, a jagged scar in the stone. He ran for it as another blast struck behind them. Inside, darkness swallowed them whole. The cave was cool, damp, silent except for their breathing. Ray laid Lyra on a flat rock, scanning her vitals. Her heart, if that's what it could still be called, was unstable. He opened his survival pack, pulling out a compact med kit. "I can fix some of this," he muttered. "You can't," she said weakly, turning her face away. "I'm not like you. My blood isn't even blood anymore." Ray met her gaze. "I don't care what you are. You're still alive. That's enough." He pressed a small injector into her neck. She flinched as warmth spread through her body, light flickering beneath her skin like soft waves. Her eyes widened slightly, glowing a deeper shade of blue. What did you do?" she asked, voice trembling. "Nanomed injection," Ray said, checking the scanner. "Human tech. It stabilizes hybrids and machine-integrated systems. You'll feel dizzy, but it'll keep you breathing." She stared at him, disbelief slowly turning into something else. "Hope. You carry human nanotech that works on people like me?" He smiled faintly. "Humans prepare for everything." For a moment, silence filled the cave. Outside, thunder rolled across the sky. Lyra's breathing slowed, steadied. She sat up slightly, her eyes glowing softly in the dark. "Why are you doing this?" she asked. "You don't even know me." Ray leaned back against the cave wall. "I don't need to. You're not their property, and no one deserves to be treated like a broken tool." Her hands tightened on the blanket wrapped around her. "They called me an experiment," she whispered. "A test subject for merging flesh and code. I was made to obey, but I remembered my name. They punished me for it." Ray's fists clenched. "Who were they?" She hesitated, then whispered, "The Zephyr Dominion. They call themselves gods of evolution. They believe machines should control life, and humans are their biggest threat." Ray's eyes narrowed. He'd heard of them before, rumors whispered in dark corners of the galaxy. The Zephyr Dominion had wiped out colonies, enslaved entire races in the name of perfection. He looked out of the cave entrance. The ships were circling again, scanning the surface. "They're not leaving," he said grimly. "They know you're alive." Lyra's voice was soft. "If you stay with me, they'll kill you too." Ray gave a small smile. "They can try." He pulled a small device from his belt, an old human signal beacon. He twisted it open, rerouting its frequency. "If I can reach the fleet, we might get a dropship here before sunrise." "You have a fleet?" she asked, surprised. "Not a big one," Ray replied. "But humans have learned to make small things hit hard." She stared at him, awe flickering in her expression. For years she had been told humans were extinct, wiped out long ago by the Dominion. Yet here he was, real, alive, and defying the monsters she had feared all her life. A faint hum echoed deeper in the cave. Ray turned sharply, weapon raised. From the shadows, small metallic drones floated into view, silver insect-like machines. They weren't Dominion scouts. They were her implants, detached and scanning. "Lyra, what are they?" Her eyes widened in horror. "They're tracking me." "My implants send signals when I'm close to a human." Before she could finish, one of the drones flashed red. Outside, the sky split open, searchlights beaming directly toward the cave. Ray cursed, grabbing her hand. "We're leaving now!" Lyra struggled to stand, her eyes glowing brighter, energy surging unnaturally through her body. "No," she said suddenly, voice trembling but firm. "I won't run anymore. I can fight this." "Fight how?" he demanded. She raised her trembling hand, and from her palm the metal lines across her arm lit up like fire. The ground shook as the cave walls vibrated. Her implants were awakening. Ray watched in stunned silence as she whispered, "They made me a weapon. Maybe it's time they regret it." Outside, the Dominion ships roared closer, but inside that cave something ancient and human had awakened within her. The cave trembled as Lyra's eyes glowed brighter, her silver veins pulsing like lightning under her skin. The machines within her, once silent slaves to the Dominion, had awakened, and for the first time they were listening to her, not to them. Ray backed a step, eyes wide. "Lyra, what are you doing?" She breathed heavily, voice layered with a metallic echo. "I can feel their signal. I can block it, maybe even turn it back." The hum around them grew sharper, higher. Sparks danced across the cave walls. The drones that had followed her began to twitch, their red eyes flickering to blue. They turned midair, not toward Ray, but toward the open sky outside. "They're coming," Ray warned, watching shadows of the ships above grow larger. 3 Dominion hunters. If we don't move, they'll bury us here." Lyra's face was pale, her veins burning brighter. "If I stop now, they'll find us anyway," she whispered. "Let me finish this." Before Ray could answer, a thunderous blast shook the desert. A plasma strike hit near the cave mouth, flooding it with blinding light and heat. Ray grabbed her, shielding her with his body. When the smoke cleared, the opening was half collapsed. He coughed, pulling her to her feet. "We're boxed in." "Can you walk?" She nodded weakly. "I can do more than walk." With trembling hands, she reached for her chest where a faint blue crystal pulsed beneath her skin. A power core. "They put this inside me to control me," she said, voice breaking. "But I can use it to overload their link," Ray frowned. "That'll kill you." "Maybe," she said softly. "But it'll buy you time." Ray's eyes hardened. "No one dies on my watch. Not you, not tonight." He pulled out his communicator, fingers racing across its holographic display. Come on," he muttered. "Signal the fleet. Emergency distress beacon. Channel 12. Static." Then a faint voice. "This is the UHS Dauntless. Identify yourself." Ray's heart jumped. "Commander Carter stranded on Delta 9 Desert Ridge. Enemy Dominion craft inbound, coordinates attached. I have a survivor. Code hybrid." The reply came instantly. "Understood, Commander. Extraction ETA 30 minutes. Hold position." Ray turned to Lyra. "We just have to last half an hour." She smiled faintly. "Half an hour against gods." Before he could respond, a shadow moved outside the rubble. Something heavy landed. A Dominion war drone, its metal body taller than a human, eyes burning crimson. It crawled through the cracked entrance, claws dragging across the stone. Ray raised his blaster, firing 3 quick bursts. The bolts hit the drone's armor, melting parts of it, but it kept moving. Its arm transformed into a blade, humming with energy. "Lyra, down," Ray shouted. The drone swung. Ray rolled aside, firing again, hitting its core. Sparks exploded, but still it didn't stop. Then Lyra stepped forward. "Enough," she whispered. Her hand glowed white-hot, the light spilling out like living fire. The metal lines across her body pulsed, and the drone froze mid-strike. Its blade arm stopped inches from her neck. Lyra's eyes turned completely silver. "I am not your property," she said, her voice shaking the air. The drone's red eyes flickered, then dimmed to black. It dropped to the ground, lifeless. Ray stared in stunned silence. "You shut it down." "I shut them all down," she whispered, collapsing to her knees. "Every drone within range. But the ships? They'll send more." Ray caught her as she fell, feeling her heart, mechanical, fragile, human all at once, beating weakly against his arm. "You did good," he said quietly. "Now let me take it from here." He dragged the drone's corpse near the entrance, ripping out its energy cell. He wired it into his rifle, the weapon humming with new life. "If they want her, they'll have to go through me." Outside, the desert glowed red under the hovering ships. The Dominion commander's voice echoed through loudspeakers, cold and mechanical. "Return the hybrid to us, human." "You have no claim." Ray aimed his weapon at the sky. "Then come and take her." Lyra stirred weakly beside him. "Ray, they won't stop. You can't win." He glanced down at her and smiled faintly. "Humans don't fight to win. We fight because someone has to." Her eyes filled with tears, real tears on for the first time in years. She had never believed in heroes. But now, watching him stand between her and the sky, she realized something terrifying and beautiful. Humans weren't extinct. They were hope that refused to die. Above them, the ships began to descend. The storm winds rose again, carrying the smell of ozone and fire. Lyra gripped his arm. "If we survive this, I'll tell you the truth about why they made me." Ray nodded. "Then let's make sure we do." The night exploded with light as the first ship opened fire, and the cave became their last line of defense. The night turned into chaos. Fire rained from the sky as Dominion ships descended like dark angels of death. The desert glowed red beneath their thrusters, the heat so fierce that even the rocks seemed to cry. Inside the half-collapsed cave, Ray braced himself behind the fallen stone wall, his weapon humming with the stolen power cell. Lyra leaned against the rock, her breathing shallow but steady, silver light pulsing faintly through her veins. "Ray," she whispered, her voice weak yet calm. "There's something I didn't tell you." "Now's not the best time for secrets," he said, eyes fixed on the entrance as shadows moved closer. "It's not a secret," she murmured. "It's a warning." Outside, the air shimmered. 3 Dominion drones landed at the cave mouth, their red eyes glowing like coals. They spoke in perfect unison. "Return Subject 9, the experiment must be retrieved." Ray aimed his rifle. "She's not your experiment." A blast answered him, shaking the cave. Dust fell like ash. Ray ducked, firing back. 1 drone exploded, but 2 more charged through the smoke, claws scraping against the rock. "Ray!" Lyra cried, raising her hand. Energy flared from her palm, a burst of silver lightning that struck 1 drone square in the chest. It screamed in static and collapsed, but the effort drained her. She fell forward, shaking. He caught her. "Easy! Don't burn yourself out." Her voice trembled. "You don't understand. If I lose control, the core inside me will detonate." Ray froze. "What?" "They built me to self-destruct if captured," she whispered, tears in her glowing eyes. "I'm a living weapon and a dead switch. If my heartbeat stops, everything within a mile burns." For a moment, silence filled the cave, broken only by the crackling fire outside. Ray stared at her. "Then we'll just make sure you don't die." She shook her head weakly. "No one ever made it this far. They always take me back. Or I explode." "Not this time," Ray said, his tone cold as steel. "Not while I'm breathing." He turned, reloaded, and fired again. Plasma bolts struck the last drone, ripping it apart. But more shadows appeared on the ridge. Soldiers now. Tall metallic beings with glowing helmets and long rifles. "Company's here," Ray muttered. "They're sending their ground troops." Lyra's trembling hand gripped his sleeve. "You can still run." He looked down at her, expression fierce. "I told you, humans don't run from monsters. We hunt them." She stared at him, the strange man from a forgotten world, defying the gods of evolution with nothing but grit and a heartbeat. For the first time in her life, she felt something she never believed she could feel again. Hope. Outside, the Dominion soldiers advanced. Ray took a deep breath, scanning their movements. "Lyra, can you still link to their systems?" She hesitated. "If I try, they'll find me again." "That's fine," he said, smirking. "Let's make sure they regret it." He tossed her a small human device, a portable relay unit. "Plug this into your neural link. When I say go, flood their network." Her eyes widened. "That could collapse their communication." "That's the plan." He stepped out from the cave's shadow, blaster ready. The first Dominion soldier saw him and raised its weapon. Too slow. Ray fired. The shot hit its helmet dead center, melting through. The others opened fire, bolts searing past him, lighting the sand. "Now, Lyra!" he shouted. She closed her eyes and screamed. Her body lit up like a star. Energy poured out of her, the implants across her skin glowing blinding white. The signal burst from her like a shockwave, racing through the air, corrupting every Dominion frequency. The soldiers froze mid-step. Their helmets flickered. One by one, they turned their weapons and on each other. Ray stared in awe. "You did it," but she didn't answer. She was shaking violently, light bursting from the lines in her skin. "Lyra," he shouted, rushing to her. "Stop, you're overloading." Her voice was faint, trembling. "I can't stop it. It's taking too much energy." The Dominion ships above sparked and began to fall, smoke trailing behind them. The entire desert trembled as metal giants crashed into the dunes. Ray held her close as the ground shook. "You did it, Lyra. You saved us." She smiled weakly, silver tears sliding down her face. "No, Ray, I just delayed them. The Dominion never sends only one fleet." He froze. Above them, the sky turned red again, hundreds of ships emerging from the clouds like a storm reborn. Ray clenched his jaw. Then humanity's going to give them a welcome they'll never forget. As the first light of dawn touched the desert, the distant roar of human ships echoed in the sky. Dauntless had arrived. Lyra's eyes fluttered open, hope flickering faintly. "Your people came?" Ray nodded. "Told you. Humans don't leave their own behind." The horizon burned with light as the human fleet appeared, black steel against the crimson dawn. The Dauntless led the charge, its engines roaring like thunder across the desert sky. For a moment, the world seemed to hold its breath. Ray shielded his eyes as the wind from the passing ships kicked up sand around him. He could hear the heavy rhythm of artillery cannons warming up, the deep hum of plasma cores ready to fire. "You weren't lying," Lyra whispered weakly, her voice trembling. "Humans are real." Ray looked at her with a small grin. "And we're not extinct yet." She tried to smile back, but her body shook. The bright lines under her skin flickered like dying stars. Her system was failing. She had pushed too hard, too fast. "Lyra, stay with me," he said, his voice low, almost pleading. He pressed a stabilizer patch against her neck, but the device sparked and died. Damn it. Her glowing eyes met his. "I told you, I'm not meant to live long. They built me with limits. Then I'll break those limits," Ray said firmly. "That's what humans do." Above them, the Dominion fleet formed a dark wall of death. Thousands of drones and fighters descended, their engines screaming. The first energy blast hit the sand dunes behind them, throwing debris like a storm of knives. Ray grabbed Lyra and ran toward the beacon flare rising in the distance, the extraction point. "The Dauntless sent a shuttle," he shouted, but as they moved, a massive shadow fell over them, a Dominion cruiser descending fast. Its landing gear crushed the ground, throwing up dust clouds that hid its monstrous size. The air shimmered as its lower ramp opened. A tall, armored figure stepped out, cloaked in white metal, with eyes burning silver. Lyra froze, her body trembling. That's their High Architect." Ray raised his weapon. "Who?" "The one who made me," the figure's voice echoed, calm and cruel. "Subject 9, you've caused enough trouble. Return and your suffering ends." Lyra's voice was a whisper. "He doesn't mean mercy, Ray, he means deletion." The Architect's gaze shifted to Ray. "Human, you are an echo of a failed species. Do not interfere in evolution," Ray smirked. "Funny, I was about to say the same thing." The Architect raised his arm. A pulse of energy struck the ground near Ray, sending him flying back. His weapon skidded across the sand. Lyra cried out, rushing toward him, but her knees gave out. Sparks burst from her chest. Her power core was cracking. The Architect approached her slowly. "You were our greatest design," he said coldly. "Half machine, half organic. The perfect slave. But you inherited something unwanted from the humans we copied in rebellion." Ray groaned, forcing himself up. "Copied?" he muttered. Lyra turned, tears shining like silver rain. "That's the truth, Ray. They made me using human DNA. That's why I look like this. That's why they call me dirty, and because I carry your kind's blood." Ray stared at her, stunned. "Human DNA? From where?" "From the First War," the Architect said, stepping closer. "From the bodies of your soldiers. Your species was efficient, resilient, but undisciplined. So we used your biology to build something better." Rage filled Ray's chest like fire. "You stole our dead to make weapons?" The Architect's voice was calm. "We gave them purpose." Ray picked up his weapon, eyes blazing. "You gave them slavery." Before the Architect could respond, a streak of light cut through the air. A missile from the Dauntless. It hit the ground near the cruiser, the explosion shaking the desert. The Architect shielded himself with a force field, but the distraction was enough. Ray fired. The bolt hit the Architect's shoulder, burning through the armor. The Dominion leader staggered, then turned his glare toward Ray. "You cannot kill me, human," Ray smirked. "Maybe not, but I can slow you down." He charged forward, grabbing Lyra's arm. "We're leaving." The Architect extended his hand and the air shimmered, magnetic force pulling Lyra back. "She belongs to me," Lyra screamed as her implants sparked. "Ray!" Ray turned, planting his boots in the sand. "No," he growled. "You don't own her." He fired at the sky, signaling the Dauntless. A thunderous roar followed as a human dropship descended, cannons blazing. The Dominion soldiers scattered under the barrage. Ray lifted Lyra into his arms as the dropship's ramp opened. "Hang on," he whispered. "You're going home." As the ship rose, Lyra looked down at the burning desert. The Architect stood below, half shrouded in smoke, staring up at them. "This isn't over," he called out. "You carry the key to extinction, Subject 9. Humanity will fall again by your hand." The ramp closed. Silence filled the cabin except for the hum of the engines. Lyra looked at Ray, fear and sorrow in her eyes. "What if he's right?" she whispered. What if I'm the weapon that ends your people? Ray took her trembling hand and said softly, then we'll rewrite your story. Together. The stars stretched endlessly outside the med bay window of the Dauntless, their cold light flickering against the steel walls. The ship moved silently through space, far above the desert world where it all began. Inside, everything was still, except for the faint hum of machines keeping one fragile life alive. Lyra lay on the recovery bed, her silver veins pulsing faintly beneath pale skin. A web of human medical devices surrounded her, scanning her body with soft blue light. Commander Ray Carter sat nearby, elbows on his knees, eyes fixed on the monitor that displayed her vital signs. She's stable, said Dr. Ellen Graves, the ship's medical officer, adjusting the settings on the console. But her power core is damaged. It's integrated deep into her nervous system, and removal could kill her. Ray frowned. Can we repair it? Ellen hesitated. That's the problem. Her systems are advanced. Some of this tech is beyond anything we've seen. It's Dominion-level hybrid engineering, with human genetic material woven in. Ray clenched his jaw. They built her from us. I want that tech studied, but not at her expense. The doctor nodded and left the room quietly. Ray turned back to Lyra, his voice low. You're safe now. No one's going to hurt you again. But in her dreams, Lyra wasn't safe. She saw fire, endless halls of white light, metal needles, voices calling her by number, not by name. Subject 9. Activate, dissect, repair, fail. The pain returned like a ghost and she jerked awake, gasping. Her eyes glowed faint blue as she scanned the room, heart pounding. Where am I? Ray stood instantly. You're on my ship. The Dauntless. You're okay? Her breathing slowed and her gaze softened when she saw him. I thought they caught us. Not this time, he said. We got you out. Lyra sat up weakly, her fingers tracing the wires attached to her arms. You shouldn't have. The architect won't stop. He never stops. Ray leaned closer. Then we stop him. She shook her head, eyes clouded with fear. You don't understand. He doesn't just want me. He wants what's inside me. Ray frowned. The core? Lyra nodded. It's not just a power source. It's a map to something called the Genesis Vault. Ray's eyes widened slightly. Never heard of it. She looked at him, her voice trembling. That's because it's forbidden. It's where the Dominion stored all their original designs. Everything they ever made, every hybrid they ever tested. But there's more. Deep inside that vault is the first copy of human DNA they ever took. Silence filled the room. The hum of the engines felt suddenly heavier. Ray stood slowly. You're telling me the vault has the genetic code of humanity's fallen soldiers? Yes, she whispered. The architect wants it back to finish what he started, to rebuild a universe where machines rule flesh. Ray ran a hand through his hair, his mind racing. If that's true, we can't let him find it. Her eyes glowed brighter. He already knows where it is. I'm the only one who can open it. Ray looked at her, realizing the weight she carried. Then you're not a weapon, he said quietly. You're the key to ending them. Lyra shook her head. You don't know what happens when the vault opens. Every hybrid ever created, every failed experiment will wake. Billions of them, and they'll obey the architect's signal. Ray stepped closer, his voice firm. Then we cut the signal. We use the vault to destroy his control. She looked up, uncertain. You'd risk everything for me? For you, he said softly. And for every human who died believing freedom was worth fighting for. Lyra turned her gaze toward the stars beyond the window. Freedom, she whispered, almost as if testing the word. It sounds beautiful, he smiled. It is. Suddenly the ship shook. Alarms blared. Ray ran to the console. What now? A voice echoed over the intercom. Captain, unidentified warp signature approaching. It's the Dominion. Multiple ships. Lyra's eyes widened. He found us. The lights flickered red as the Dauntless dropped out of warp. On the view screen, dozens of Dominion cruisers appeared, sleek, silver, and silent, blocking their path. Ray activated the intercom. All hands battle stations. Shield up, weapons online. He turned to Lyra. Stay here. Lock the med bay door. She reached for his hand. Ray, if they board the ship, they'll take me alive. Don't let them. He looked at her, his expression unyielding. If they step one foot on this ship, they'll regret ever coming near humanity. The Dauntless's engines roared, guns charging with blinding light. Outside, the void shimmered as the first barrage began. Humanity against the Dominion, hope against control. In the med bay, Lyra closed her eyes, whispering to herself, "I'm not dirty. I'm alive." Her power core pulsed once, brighter than ever, as if responding to her will. Somewhere deep inside her, the dormant map of the Genesis vault began to stir, and far away, in the cold darkness of space, the architect smiled. The stars outside burned red as the Dauntless braced for impact. Dominion ships surrounded it like predators, their weapons glowing with cold white fire. Inside the command deck, alarms screamed, officers shouted orders, and Commander Ray Carter stood in the center. Calm, eyes steady. "Helm, evasive pattern Delta 5, he ordered. "Keep our port side to the planet. Gunnery, fire all plasma batteries." The ship lurched as bright lances of energy shot across space. Explosions flashed, lighting up the void. But for every Dominion ship that fell, 2 more appeared. They were everywhere, silent, merciless, precise. In the med bay, Lyra could hear the battle shaking the ship. The lights flickered. Sparks danced across the floor. Her power core pulsed faster, reacting to the chaos. She could feel the architect's signal, faint but growing stronger. It called to her implants like a whisper in her veins. Subject 9. The voice echoed inside her mind.
"Your purpose awaits."
"Come home." She clutched her chest, shaking her head. "No, I'm not yours," but the core didn't listen. It responded to the architect's pull, flooding her body with energy. The medical monitors went wild. Warning lights flashed red. On the bridge, the doctor's voice came over the comm. "Commander, it's Lyra. Her readings are spiking off the charts. She's reacting to something." Ray's heart dropped. "Keep her stable. I'm on my way." He turned to his second in command. "Hold them off. No one fires on the vault coordinates until I say." Then he sprinted from the bridge, every step echoing through the steel halls. When he reached the med bay, the door was already glowing from the inside, light spilling through the cracks. He forced it open and froze. Lyra floated a few inches above the bed, her body surrounded by a halo of silver fire. Her eyes shone like twin suns. The air around her vibrated with energy that wasn't entirely physical. "Lyra," he shouted. "Fight it! Don't let him control you!" Her voice came out layered with static, half hers, half the architect's. "He's inside. He's using the link." Ray grabbed the emergency injector and slammed it into her arm. The surge hit her system, stabilizing her for a moment. Her eyes flickered back to blue. "He's using my core as a beacon," she gasped. "He's opening the Genesis vault." Ray stiffened. "Where?" "In the neighbors sector. The vault is waking up. Billions of hybrids will rise unless we destroy it." The ship rocked violently as another barrage hit. Smoke filled the room. Ray steadied himself and met her eyes. "Then we end it." "Tell me how." Her voice trembled. "My core is the key. If I overload it inside the vault's network, it will erase everything. The Dominion's code, the architect's mind, all of it." He understood instantly, and his chest tightened. "That'll kill you." Lyra smiled faintly. "I was never meant to live, Ray. I was made to end things." He shook his head fiercely. "No, you're more than a weapon. We'll find another way." The intercom crackled. "Commander, the Dominion fleet is retreating. They're warping toward the Nebra sector." Ray looked at her. "They're going to the vault." Lyra's eyes glowed brighter. "Then that's where I have to go." Ray clenched his fists, torn between duty and something deeper, something human. "You're not doing this alone." Minutes later, the Dauntless's engines flared as it jumped into warp, chasing the Dominion armada across light years. The crew worked in silence, fear mixing with resolve. When they arrived, the sight before them stole everyone's breath. The Genesis vault floated in the darkness, and a massive sphere of black stone and silver machinery, pulsing like a living heart. Its surface cracked open as Dominion ships poured energy into it, unlocking ancient seals. Ray whispered, "That thing's the size of a moon." Lyra stood beside him, her body trembling but her eyes clear. "And inside it sleeps everything they ever made." The architect's voice echoed through the comms, deep and echoing. "Welcome home, my children. Witness perfection." Thousands of hybrid life forms emerged from the vault. Mechanical, organic, twisted beyond imagination. The stars dimmed under their shadow. Ray turned to Lyra. "If you're going to do it now." She stepped forward, light gathering around her. "Tell me something first," she said softly. "What? Do you think something made from human pain can still be human?" He looked at her, really looked at her, and said, "You already are." Her eyes filled with tears, and for the first time her voice was peaceful. "Then I'm ready." She raised her arms, and the light inside her exploded outward. The wave raced across space, a blinding surge of energy. Dominion ships disintegrated instantly. The hybrids screamed as their systems melted away. Even the vault began to crack, its surface burning with blue fire. On the Dauntless, alarms blared as the energy surged toward them. "Commander!" "The blast!" Ray shouted. "Hold position!" Outside, the vault collapsed in on itself, and then there was silence. The Dominion fleet was gone. The Architect's signal vanished. The stars returned. In the medbay, the lights flickered once more. Lyra lay motionless, her glow fading slowly. Ray knelt beside her, his hand trembling as he brushed a strand of silver hair from her face. "You did it," he whispered, her eyes open just a little, soft and tired. "Did I make it right?" "You did more than that," he said, voice breaking. "You saved us all," she smiled faintly. "Then I wasn't dirty after all." Her hand went still. The core in her chest dimmed, then went dark. Outside, in the quiet of space, the human fleet drifted among the stars, free at last, and Commander Ray Carter stood at the viewport, staring at the endless horizon, whispering to himself, "Humanity never dies. It just finds new ways to begin again."